All right, it's time for another ElCamino project. I figured I'd start on the front end. I haven't finished the dash yet, but I think I want to get the fenders and hood off the floor and into one pile, one thing, one unit. So I'm going to go ahead and mock these up and weld the front end together. It's going to be a tilt forward front end, so there's nothing for the fenders to attach to back here on the firewall area. It all got chopped off. So my original plan was to make a tilt forward front end anyways, and I think I'm going to start on that so I can get the front end on the car, and then I can get back in the dash, run the wiring harness in the dash and the wiring harness in the engine compartment at the same time and make it all kind of mesh up. The dash is pretty close to being done, with the exception of smoothing it out. I have to trim up a couple areas in the dash. If you look, the center vent needs to be trimmed up and evened out. It's not quite square, it's a little out of skew. So I'll have to trim that up and refiberglass that. But it's not looking too bad. I put the old ElCamino steering wheel on the Tahoe steering column. It happened to have the right adapter with the right splines. So that'll work out there and leave a little bit of the ElCamino inside. So what I have to do first to get the fenders welded to the hood, I'm going to weld down this seam right here. You have to be careful though, because if you weld it solid, you're going to warp the fenders and you're going to warp the hood and they're never going to come out straight. So you got to do it piece by piece, a little bit by little bit. But you got to trim this inner structure out. So I think I'm going to take a grinder and grind right along this edge here, all the way down, and take this big chunk right here and toss it. I'm not going to need that if these are welded together. This won't actually connect to anything on the hood. So we'll get that trimmed out, and we'll get a header panel here, grind the paint off this, get this prepped up, get the fenders prepped up, and the edge of the hood prepped up. And then we'll come back and take another video clip, show you what's going on. Maybe I'll have some of it clamped in place. Until then, hang tight. I'll be back. Alright, got a little bit done. Got the fenders kind of trimmed out. Got this big old chunk of metal trimmed off there, nice sharp edge. I cleaned up the edge, so it's pretty clean. Pretty clean metal to weld. I could clean it up a little bit more probably before I weld, but not a big deal. There's a old Bondo in these fenders. Big crease that was smashed into it right there. So I'll have to fix all that stuff later. I've never done a tilt forward front end. I've talked to people that have, and everybody I've talked to says that every tilt forward front end is done differently. They might use the same brackets with the same latch mechanism, but they're all kind of unique in their own way. So I'm kind of shooting from the hip on this. I'm making it my own way. Like I said, I've talked to people, so I've got ideas. I know kind of what they've done, but I'm gonna make this one my own. I've kind of started welding the front panel here to the hood, just a little tack weld, and there's a decent sized gap there because that would be the gap that was there if the hood was to close. And it's very important to keep the gap sizes there. You can't just butt everything together and weld it up because it won't fit right. Especially if you butt the fenders up to the hood. As you can see, there's a little bit of a lip there. So you have to leave a gap here. If you don't, when you get back to where your fender meets your door, your fender's going to be in a little bit and you're going to have a whistle as the wind goes over your door. So I know a little bit about what I should do but most of it's going to be fabrication as I go. I know that some people will have a double hinge thing going on at the front, so the hood kind of pops forward and then tilts up, and that keeps your fenders from hitting your door. Other people will take and they'll cut a diagonal line across their fender and weld this piece to the car, and that way the fender picks up, so you don't have to have that double hinge thing going on at the front. I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna cut the fender right here at this body line, and I'm gonna weld this bottom part to the car, and I'm gonna make sure my hinge up in the front is lower than this body line, so that when the whole thing starts to tilt, it automatically starts to raise up away from the door, in theory. I'm not an engineer, I don't have an engineering degree, but I'm gonna shoot for this and we'll see what happens. After I get it kind of mocked up, we'll know if it's gonna work or not. But for now, this is what I've got going on. Before I shoot another video, I'll probably weld this stuff together and clean it up a little bit more and then pick up. So for now, this is it. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you can follow this project as it's going. I've got a lot more to do to it. I started working on it years and years ago, and it got thrown in the back corner of my garage and forgot about. So now that it's dug out and ready to go, it's time to get it done. So until next time, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later.